full discussion of the things presented. Welcome, Thomasine.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to talk about Emma Watson's communication style. Emma Watson rose to fame at a very young age, starring in the Harry Potter movies. Emma Watson today supports many different worldwide charities. She is a UN Goodwill Ambassador. She chooses to design and wear eco-friendly clothing, and she helped found the He for She campaign. At her UN meetings, she always talks very passionately about what she's talking about. She never looks at her papers while she is talking, so she's completely memorized her speeches. She speaks very fluently and calmly, and she pauses when necessary to let her words sink in or for effect. She always wears the appropriate attire, which many celebrities are picked on for whatever they wear, even if it's appropriate. And she always chooses a speech that is appropriate for the event. What is Emma Watson's presentation like? She developed her own style after a while. When she was younger, she was a lot more awkward and she stole clothes from her mother's closet. She lives up to the crazy standards for celebrities today. She was targeted by the media for her style at a younger age because she wore very awkward clothes, as I said before. She chooses to wear ethical fashion compared to other celebrities who choose to wear fast fashion, which is terrible for pretty much everyone involved. And she always chooses the appropriate clothes for the occasion, whether it be a red carpet event or a UN meeting. What is Emma Watson's voice like? She has a very moderated pitch that changes when necessary. She has a smooth voice that's not too loud, it's very modulated. She pauses for effect, and she talks at a speed that makes it very easy to keep up with, so she doesn't talk too fast and she doesn't talk too slow. She has a very silvery voice that's very clear, it's very light, it's very pleasant, and her voice is thicker with emotion in some speeches, but it just adds to the speech because you can tell how much she really cares about what she's talking about. What is her body language like? She's very calm and friendly, she's unafraid to make eye contact, and she's usually smiling at whoever she's talking to or whoever's around her. She stands the right distance away from people so they're not uncomfortable. She doesn't stand too close, she doesn't stand too far away, and she gestures when necessary with her hands, but they're very small gestures. Is Emma Watson a good communicator? Emma Watson is a UN Goodwill Ambassador. She has a very calm, controlled voice, and she chooses appropriate language for all of her audiences. She is very relaxed, she's very calm, and she keeps a good proximity to and away from people. She refuses to take selfies with fans, which she has been criticised for, but she decides to do that because she doesn't want people knowing her location when the selfie was taken. But overall, she has become an excellent communicator while growing up in the public eye. Thank you.
Katie Alcorn will play two characters, both Jane and Mr. Rochester. This is part of her speech and performance syllabus, and much of the work here is memorised. This piece forms part of her theme on alarming experiences, and this is what she is telling to Mr. Rochester happened to her when she was in the orphanage as a young girl. Welcome, Katie.
I don't believe I am vain, sir. I suppose you were accustomed to compliments from your director at Lowood. Brocklehurst, wasn't that his reverend name? Compliments? From that man? Oh, come now, Miss Eyre. I've been supporting that institution for years. It might be wise to investigate where you dispense your charities, sir. No institution directed by a man like the Reverend John Brocklehurst is worthy of support. But a parson, Miss Eyre. I should have imagined that all you girls worshipped him. Quite the contrary. What? A novice not worship her priest? It sounds blasphemous. I think he is one of the worst men in the world. What? A novice not worship her priest? It sounds blasphemous. What did this Brocklehurst look like? Like a buttoned-up black tadpole. By gosh, I can see him. My first day at school, he stood me up on a high stool and told the other girls he'd been warned that I was a liar, that they were not to play with me. He told the teachers that my spirit must be broken. They were unsuccessful. I hated him so much I felt ill whenever he came into a room. When I was a child, I could have killed him with these two hands. One morning, he took it into his head to object to my hair. In front of the whole school, he caught hold of a mess of my curls and shouted at me that I must mortify myself in the lust of the flesh. He spoke of it as an excrescence, but the whole time he kept hold of my hair, stroking it. Then he reached for a pair of scissors and cut it off. He made my girlhood a living hell on earth. I thought so. You have rather the look of a young clipped eagle. I turned on him. I was quite little, you know, and I pummeled him with my two fists, like that, right on his mean, bony chest. You terrify me. I beg your pardon. It evidently takes anger to bring you out. I'm sorry. I forgot myself, sir.
That was a 6th grade syllabus item. The next item comes from a 7th grade student, Sarah Waters. She's going to perform a poem for you called You Are Who You've Been Looking For. This is in the style of oral performance with a hint of rap. And in grade 7, they do a theme for a culture, and Sarah has chosen the culture of love as her theme for this grade. Welcome, Sarah.
This is an extract from You Are Who You've Been Looking For by Adam Rower. You are who you've been looking for, so stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that because you think you are not blessed with everything you need. You see, we live in a consumer society, which means they need you to buy stuff, and the easiest way to sell it to you is to tell you that you are not enough. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies, but the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier about this lie they keep telling you, that you are not enough. And what about the movies we watch, the shows on TV? The more I watch, the more I see I need you to complete me. And yes, love is the answer, and love is the key. But if you can't love yourself, how could you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught self-love is something to be feared. Well, I got a trick I picked up from a friend who noticed that I was quick to defend her when she would say something negative about herself. She would say, "I'm so dumb." And I would say, "You're so brilliant." She would say, "I'm so weak." And I would say, "You're so resilient." And when she said, "I feel ugly," and I said, "You look beautiful," she asked me why I was so dutifully filling up her cup constantly, yet treating my own cup so irresponsibly. Because when I looked in the mirror, my voice was quite clear. You're ugly, you're too thin, your hairline's receding, and you've got a pimple on your chin. And that was when she gave me a piece of advice that changed my life. She gave me a hug, and she said, "Treat yourself like someone you loved." Now, I've been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe I'd let myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for. And I am not any more special or unique than you, and that is why I'm here to speak to you. You are already enough. And when you start to see that, you will start to be that. Your world will get brighter, your load will get lighter, and you will see that with life, you can be a lover, not a fighter. As of today, I hope I leave you with a direction correction, away from the flaws you see in your reflection. They aren't flaws to me, they are simply protection against all the doubts you have of your perfection. So, start today. Take a good, long look in the mirror and say, "I am who I've been looking for."
Next, we have another person doing their CVCA, or Certificate in Voice and Communication Australia. Sienna Catchwell will present for us the reading of a piece of prose from her presentation called The Song of Achilles, which she must read and then discuss with the examiner. Welcome, Sienna.
The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. As we swam or played or talked, a feeling would come. It was almost like fear in the way that it filled me, rising in my chest. It was almost like tears in how swiftly it came. But it was neither of those. Buoyant where they were heavy, bright where they were dull. I had known contentment before, but in truth it had been less a presence than an absence. A lying aside of dread. My father was not near, nor boys. I was not hungry, nor tired, nor sick. This feeling was different. I found myself grinning until my cheeks hurt, my scalp prickling till I thought it might lift off my head. My tongue ran away from me, giddy with freedom. This, I say, this and this. Flashes of memories. The way his hair looked in the summer sun, his face when he ran, his eyes solemn as an owl at lessons, Achilles grinning as figs blow in his hands, his green eyes laughing into mine. Catch, he says. Achilles outlined against the sky, hanging from a branch over the river, the thick warmth of his sleepy breath against my ear. If you have to go, I'll go with you. My fears forgotten in the golden harbour of his arms. How he played my mother's lyre. When it was my turn to play, my fingers tangled in the strings. I did not care. Play again, I told him, and he played until I could barely see his fingers in the dark. I did not mind any more that I lost when we raced, and I lost when we swam out to the rocks, and I lost when we tossed gears or skipped stones. For who can be ashamed to lose to such beauty? It was enough to watch him win, to see the soles of his feet flashing as they kicked up the sand, or the rise and fall of his shoulders as he pulled through the salt. It was enough.
A strong contrast in mood we shall now have as Sammy Mazzy presents a humorous poem called Nuts. Welcome, Sammy Mazzy.
Nuts by Annette Coseras. A stray pup was dropped at our place, and I called him Nuts, but Dad said he wasn't allowed inside the house. No ifs or buts. A yard's a place for animals. He's not to come inside. But Dad wouldn't listen to me, so I went to bed and cried. Then from outside my window, I heard a little squeak. I grabbed my gown and slippers and on tiptoes had a peek. Nuts was looking up at me with the saddest little face. I don't know where he had been, but he didn't like our place. I went to the fridge to look for food and found a mutton bone. I threw it out the window, but he didn't want to eat. He just looked up and whimpered and wandered out into the street. I crept out the front door, and he ran back to me. He kissed me, I hugged him and sat him on my knee. Dad found us there together, but he didn't shout or fuss. He sighed, "All right, let's take him home. He wants to be one of us."
The theme for Sammy's program was determination, and you could see that little dog was determined to join that family. Our next 6th grade presenter is Phoebe Imberger, who's doing a piece of prose from a very moving autobiography called Am I Still Visible? Phoebe is doing Phoebe, what was your theme? Yes, it was overcoming difficulties. So this was the 6th grade theme for her program. Welcome, Phoebe.
This is an extract from Am I Still Visible by Cinderella. I wish that I could say that from then on the battle was all downhill, but that was not the case. I continued to be torn between the ever-increasing desire to be rid of this nightmare and the strong compulsion to submit to the hold it still had on me. Dr. G designed a medical treatment program for me that included weekly weigh-ins at the clinic and regular monitoring of my physical condition. He also suggested that I see a psychiatrist. Despite my aversion to the psychiatrist recommended by Dr. G, I kept the appointment. For several years, I had heard rumours that this particular psychiatrist had a reputation for keeping his patients hospitalised inordinately long, and for being rather brusque in manner, a totally unsympathetic individual. Perhaps this preconception of Dr. R clouded my judgment of him, but for whatever reason, I was absolutely certain that he was not for me. He immediately demanded hospitalisation for indefinite but lengthy time. This was his opening statement, even before saying hello. When I replied that this approach seemed a bit summary, he informed me that he would have my husband on the phone before I got home and then we'd see. Needless to say, I was livid. I rose to the defensive and for once I felt no threat. Anger completely crowded out any other emotion. His parting taunt, "You'll never get better without hospitalisation," confirmed me an ironclad to resolve and prove him wrong. As I dressed to run by the Education Adult Office, I had to go to the laundry room to bring up some clothes. I glanced at my nude image in the full-length mirror. I was stunned. For the first time, I saw myself as everyone else was seeing me. I ran my hands over my body in horror as I discovered the disappearance of any buttocks. My body was virtually gone. Grabbing my clothes, I flew upstairs to the bathroom mirror to take a close look at my face. Again, I felt revulsion as this yellow-aged skeleton looked back at me. I smiled, or so I thought, and was greeted by a pagan death mask. "What have you done to yourself?" I whispered to the mirrored reflection. Such ugliness was hard to accept. For the first time throughout the entire ordeal, I felt that I had crossed the brink irrevocably. Suddenly, I wanted to gain weight, not because someone had decreed it necessary, but because I saw the absolute necessity of it. Please, God, I prayed, don't let it be too late.
Our next performer is a 7th grade student whose culture is the Irish culture. And Mia Brotherson-Moffat will perform the poem called Her Voice by Oscar Wilde. Welcome, Mia.
Her Voice by Oscar Wilde. The wild bee reels from bough to bough with his furry coat and his gauzy wing. Now in a lily cup, and now setting a jacinth bell a-swing in his wandering. Sit closer, love. It was here I trow I made that vow, swore that 2 lives should be like one, as long as the seagull loved the sea, and as long as the sunflower sought the sun. It shall be, I said, for eternity, twixt you and me. Dear friend, those times are over and done. Love's web is spun. Look upward where the poplar trees sway in the summer air. Here in the valley never a breeze scatters the thistledown, but there great winds blow fair from the mighty, murmuring, mystical seas and the wave-lashed leas. Look upward where the white gull screams. What does it see that we do not see? Is that a star, or a lamp that gleams on some outward voyaging argosy?
Ah, can it be? We have lived our lives in a land of dreams. How sad it seems. And sweet, there is nothing left to say. Sorry. And sweet, there is nothing left to say but this, that love is never lost. Keen winter stabs the breast of May, whose crimson roses burst his frost. Ships tempest-tossed will find a harbour in some bay, and so we may. And there is nothing left to do but this, but to kiss once again and part. There is nothing we should rue. I have my beauty, you your art. Nay, do not start. This world was not enough for two like me and you.
And now a change of pace with Caitlin Mungall doing a character sketch. This comes from the famous play Educating Rita, and she will play two characters, Frank the English tutor and Rita the hairdresser who wants a good education. Welcome, Caitlin.
You're a lady's hairdresser? Yeah. Are you any good at it? I am what I want to be. Most of the time I don't want to, though. They get on my nerves. Who? The women. They never tell you things that matter. Like, you know, doing a perm, where you can't use a strong perm lotion on a head that's been bleached with a certain sort of cheap bleach. It makes all the hair to break off. But at least once a month, I'll get a customer in for a perm who'll swear to God she's not had any bleach on. And I can tell. I mean, I can see it. So you go ahead and you do the perm, and she comes out of the dryer with half an inch of stubble. And what do you do about it? Try and sell him a wig. My God. Women who want their hair doing, they won't stop at anything, you know. Even the pensioners are like that, you know. A pensioner will come in and she'll want her hair doing, but she won't tell you she's got a hearing aid in. So you start cutting, don't you? Next thing, snip! Another granny deaf for a fortnight. I'm always cutting hearing aid cords and earlobes. You sound like something of a liability. I am, but they expect too much. They would walk into a hairdresser, and an hour later, they want to walk out a different person. I tell them, I'm a hairdresser, not a plastic surgeon. It's worse than there's a fat on, you know, like Farrah Fawcett Majors. Who? Farrah Fawcett Majors. You know, she used to be with Charlie's Angels. It's a teleprogram on ITV. Ah. You wouldn't watch ITV though, would ya? It's all BBC with you, isn't it? Well, I must confess. It's all right, I know. As soon as I walked in here, I said to myself, you can tell he's a flora man. A what? A flora man. Flora? Flowers? No, flora, the bleeding margarine. No cholesterol. It's for people like you who eat pebble dash bread. You know, the bread with the little hard bits in it, just like pebble dashing. Ah, pebble dash bread. Quick! It's like lightning. But these women, you see, they come into the hairdresser because they want to be changed. But if you want to be changed, you've got to do it from the inside, don't you? You know, like what I'm doing. Do you think I'll be able to do it?
Thank you, Caitlin. We're now to have a poem from Kaylee Swick. Her theme is success, and she's also doing grade 6. And this poem is by Ray Mather, Remember Me. Welcome, Kaylee.
Remember Me by Ray Mather. Remember me? I'm the girl who sought friendship, the girl you turned away. I'm the girl who asked you if I too might play. I, the face at the window, when your party was inside. I, the lonely figure that walked away and cried. I, the one that hung around, a punch bag for your games. Someone you could kick and beat, someone to call names. But how strange is the change after time has hurried by. 4 years have passed since then. Now I'm not so quick to cry. I'm bigger and I'm stronger and I've grown a foot in height. Suddenly, I'm popular and you're left out the light. I could, if I wanted, be so unkind to you. I would only have to say, and the other girls would do. But the memory of my pain holds back the revenge I'd planned, and instead I'd feel much stronger by offering you my hand.
Just for a change of pace, we're going to have a group play. In this play, you will meet 2 characters with whom many of you are familiar, young women from past centuries. They meet in a psychiatrist's waiting room. Welcome, Sarah and Mia.
Hey. Hello.
Are you okay?
Sorry, I'm not... I don't like this.
This chair or?
Dr. Jody.
Gotcha. She's very annoying.
You don't like her?
Since the very beginning.
Oh, I thought everyone around here liked her.
You'd think she'd cured cancer by the way they talk about her in commissary.
I know. She's the best. She's so helpful.
She got me to open right up. Open right up like a flower.
I hate that one. That one... We haven't met, have we? I'm Ophelia.
Juliet. Juliet Capulet.
Right. So, did you...
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That's how we got the golden ticket to Loserville.
I guess. So, how did you,
Oh, drown myself.
knife in the stomach?
Ow. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't really
it all seems so stupid now.
Tell me about it. I went mad beforehand. 1 second, I was in the East Hall. The next, underwater. Surprise!
You're not mad now.
No. I see everything as clear as a bell. I see a lot of things as clear as day. I see a lot of things. I see a lot of things. Sorry. Dr. Jody says I have anger issues.
Me too. Anger management program.
I think I have a lot to be angry about. Dr. Jody, 3 times a week?
Being dead makes me angry.
I hate being dead.
It sucks.
Really sucks being dead.
Oh, but Dr. Jody wouldn't like that kind of talk.
Sometimes I want to shove her glasses up her nose.
Sometimes I want to shove that bobblehead up her nose, you know, the one on her desk.
She changes them. Have you noticed?
They're the mood of the day. The mood of the day bobblehead.
I would totally feel so much better if I could shove that bobblehead up her nose.
It would be awesome.
Guess my mood, Dr. Jody.
Up yours, Dr. Jody.
Up yours. She keeps pushing the crafts onto me. I'm supposed to find them calming?
She says I have to do yoga.
Do you like it?
Hate it. Do you like that?
I hate the crafts.
I hate the bingo. I hate the shuffleboard.
You know, I can live with the shuffleboard. There's something about the way the puck swooshes across the floor. Drifting. It's mesmerizing. Peaceful. Swoosh. But then I remember what happened to me and I get angry all over again.
You can't let go of the past.
I hold the past in an iron fist.
A death grip.
A post-death grip. Ha. Did Dr. Jody give you the let go of the past speech?
Weekly. Sometimes daily.
Oh, man.
If you want to move on, Juliet, you need to let go of the past. Be calmer and more peaceful.
Just like the shuffleboard, Ophelia. Calm and peaceful.
You need to let go.
Swoosh.
Let go.
Swoosh.
Let go of the past, Juliet.
Maybe I do hate the shuffleboard.
I don't want to let go of the past. I like feeling angry about my past.
Being angry makes me feel good.
It makes me feel alive.
Were you ever allowed to get angry when you were alive? Like, for real, alive?
Never.
Me neither. I didn't have one single solitary thought to myself the entire time I was alive. Go here, Ophelia. Do this, Ophelia. To a nunnery, Ophelia.
Oh, I thought for myself. Yeah, I thought for myself right into a knife in the stomach.
If I had have had a single solitary thought to myself, I wouldn't have ended up in that river. I know it.
You were insane. You could hardly help it.
What's the deal with going insane for a guy? Guys suck.
Romeo, he picks his nose.
Hamlet farts and walks away.
Oh. Romeo wears socks and sandals.
Why would I want to move on? I just have to be happy about seeing everyone who jerked me around my whole life. Do I really want to see them all that much?
Do I really want to be happy about seeing Romeo with another girl?
It's not so bad here. No one bosses you around. If I want to eat ice cream at 2 in the morning, I can. No one gets in your face. I kind of like that.
No parents telling you to marry some dope with hairy monkey breath.
Exactly. Come on,
Where are we going?
to yell at Dr. Jody. We're gonna stay angry for the rest of eternity.
The commissary has chocolate mint ice cream.
I love chocolate chip. To anger. Huzzah! Huzzah!
Was that your recollection of Ophelia and Juliet? Perhaps not. Pearl Rogers is also doing her CVCA this year, and she is going to read one of her poems called Enter Without So Much as Knocking by Bruce Dorr. This is quite a satirical view of life from birth to death. Welcome, Pearl.
Enter Without So Much as Knocking by Bruce Dorr. Blink, blink, hospital, silence. 10 days old, carried in the front door in his mother's arms. First thing he heard was Bobby Dazzler on Channel 7. Hello, 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 all you lucky people. And he really was lucky, because it didn't mean a thing to him. Then, a year or two to settle in and get acquainted with the setup. Like every other well-equipped, smoothly run household, his included one economy-sized mum, one Anthony Squires Coolstream summer-weight dad, along with 2 other kids straight off the junior department rack. When mum won the Luxor Forge Tricky Tune quiz, she took him shopping in the good-as-new station wagon, $495 deposit in Reno's. Beep, beep, walk, don't walk, turn left, no parking, wait here, no smoking, keep clear, out of grass, no breathing except by order, beware of this, watch out for that, my God, beep! The congestion near here just gets beep, worse every day, oh, watch for that, beep, beep, does that idiot think he's doing beep, beep, and beep. However, what he enjoyed most of all was when they went to the late show at the local drive-in on a clear night. He could see, beyond the 50-foot screen where giant faces forever snarled, screamed, or made incomprehensible and monstrous love, a pure, unadulterated fringe of sky, littered with stars no one had got round to fixing up yet. He'd watch them, circling about in luminous groups, like kids at the circus who never got quite close enough to the elephant to get kicked. Anyway, pretty soon he was old enough to be realistic like every other godless, money-hungry, backstabbing, miserable so-and-so. And it was goodbye stars and the soft cry in the corner when no one was looking, because I'm telling you straight, Jim, it's #1 every time for this chicken. Hit wherever you see ahead and kick whoever's down. Oh, thanks for a lovely evening, Claire. It's good to get away from it all once in a while. You know, it's a real battle all the way and a man can't help but feel a little soiled himself at times. You know what I mean. Oh, now take it easy on those curves, Alice, for God's sake. Oh, I've had enough for one night with that Claire Jessup. Hey, ease up, will you watch it? Brevity and Sons morticians did a really first-class job on his face. Everyone was very pleased, even adding a healthy tan he'd never had living. Gave him back for keeps the old automatic smile with nothing behind it, winding the whole thing up with a nice ride out to the underground metropolis. Permanent residentials, no parking tickets, no taximeters ticking, no Bobby Dazzlers here, no down payments, nobody grieving over halitosis, flat feet, shrinking gums, falling hair. 6 feet down, nobody interested. Blink, blink, cemetery, silence.
Our next person is away. So Achilles sick, not here. So we're going on to Matilda Arms. We're now going to be entertained by a poem called Chairs. Matilda's theme for her program is individuality. Welcome, Matilda.
Chairs by Bill Scott. Chairs are wonderful, so I found. They stop me from having to sit on the ground. Chairs stop prickles and spiders and ants, walking about on the seat of my pants. Chairs sit still in the light of day and never stir when I look their way. But when I'm in bed and curled up small, they have their sports day out in the hall. Long, thin legs and curving shins. That's kitchen stool. It always wins. Fat lounge chair goes puffing past. It tries so hard, but it's always last. I don't mind what they do at night. When I sit in them, they hug me tight. So although my wondering family stares, I hug them back. I love my chairs.
And now for an unusual piece of prose. It's all about homonyms, and the person in Nathia's little extract just loves and has a passion for homonyms. Welcome, Nathia.
I am the only student in my classroom who's interested in homonyms. This suggests to me that most kids aren't interested in homonyms, so if you want to skip this chapter, it's all right. But if you keep reading, you might get interested in homonyms. If you're not interested in rules, in homonyms at all, stop reading here and skip to chapter 4. Homonyms can be surprising and fun, and that's why I decided to start a list of them. The list is very long. Right now, it takes up 4 sheets of paper. The words are in alphabetical order. I try to leave spaces between the pairs and trios of homonyms so that I can add new words to the list easily. But if the spaces have gotten all used up and I've thought of another set of homonyms, then I have to rewrite the list from that point on. Sometimes this makes me cry because I have to write the list perfectly without making any mistakes. If I make a mistake, I have to start over. Josh Bartle, who's a 4'10" boy in my classroom, said to me last week, "Rose, if you just keep the list on your computer, you can add new words to the list wherever you want. The computer will make spaces for you. You won't have to keep rewriting the list." But my father and I do not have a computer, or a phone, or a digital camera, or a laptop, or a DVD player. My father says those things are expensive and unnecessary. He says we can't afford them, and who needs them anyway? So my list is on paper. Since I've realised that most kids aren't any more interested in rules than they are in homonyms, I'll tell you something fun about homonyms first, and then I'll get to the rules. And if you're still interested, you can keep reading.
A rare creature indeed, whose passion is homonyms. Serafina Catter is now going to bring us a piece of prose from I Can Jump Puddles, and her theme is all about departures. Welcome, Serafina.
Father had already bade me goodbye, but Mother lingered. She suddenly kissed me quickly, and that she could do this to me was incredible. I did not see her leave for her own will, but because of some monstrous circumstance over which she had no control. I did not sing out to her or beg her to return, though this is what I longed to do. I watched her go, unable to make any effort to prevent her. The man in the next bed watched me in silence after Mother had gone and said, "Why are you crying?" "I want to go home." We all want that. Then turned his gaze to the ceiling and sighed and said, "Yes, we all want that." The ward in which we laid in had a polished floor, light brown between the beds and down the centre, but dark and shiny beneath the beds, where the feet of nurses were never to be disturbed. After Mother had gone, the men in the ward called out to me and said, "Not to worry. You'll be all right," one said. "We'll look after you." There were 14 men in the ward. I was the only child. After Mother had left, they all called out to me and asked what was wrong with me. I told them. They all discussed infantile paralysis. And one man said it was murder. "It's bloody murder. That's what it is. It's bloody murder." This remark made me feel important, and I liked the man who said it. I did not regard my illness as serious, but as a temporary inconvenience.
Prose, for some unaccountable reason, is the hardest of all the things to learn out of drama and poetry, and perhaps it's because it doesn't have the same element of rhyme and rhythm in it, but prose is always the most challenging to learn. Our final performance of the evening is going to be a modern version of Cinderella. One of the performers in this quartet is at home sick tonight, and we are very grateful that Nathea has learnt her part in the afternoon to fill in. So we congratulate her and thank you very much indeed, Nathea, for filling in for Zoe, who's absent. So, a twist on the traditional version of Cinderella. Girls, please come and set up your scene and we shall begin. Welcome Tilly, Phoebe, Nathea and Sammy.
I don't know why I always have to arrange the flowers. I do really. It's because of my artistic flair. Such a bore being so talented. Oh, I do wish Mumsy was still here. She used to do all the jobs around the house. which is what mothers are for, after all. Stepmama is such a disappointment. She does absolutely nothing around the house, not that she'd know how. She has absolutely no taste at all, and I'm sure she only married Daddy for his money.
Struth, Cindy, it's so cold in here. I may as well be back skiing at Perisher. Stop fiddling around those stupid flowers and stoke up the fire before poor Pookie gets frostbite on his poisonous little nose. Mummy's little baby, aren't you, Diddums? Yes, you are.
Why do I always have to stoke the fire? You know I hate getting cinders all over my pretty clothes.
I hate getting cinders all over my pretty clothes. Your name is Cindy after all. Well, aren't you going to give your mother a hello kiss?
Ugh, get real. I'd kiss if your name was Guy Prince.
He's so cool. Did you know he's coming next week?
Guy Prince? Who's he?
Who's he? Duh! He's only the best punk rocker since Sid Vicious. If you can listen to this garbage on the radio, then you might actually get a life. Now that's what we call music.
Girls, please turn it off. Not today. After that cocktail party at the Hilton last night, I have a splitting headache. It must have been something in those horses' duvers.
That's hors d'oeuvres, stepmama.
Oh, hors d'oeuvres is it? Think you know it all. But you don't know nothing.
You didn't even know who Guy Prince was.
Yeah, don't you ever read Dolly? You win of the October Hunk Fest?
Hunk Fest?
Drop.
Yeah, mega hunk.
Gorgeous.
Pure drill material. Look.
Oh, be still my beating heart. He's the prince of my dreams.
All right. You've had a good go. Give it back. Oh, Mum. Can we go to Guy Prince's concert, please?
Everyone will be there.
And it's only $90 a ticket. Go on, Mum. Let us go.
Oh, yes, I'd quite enjoy going to that.
You?
You've never listened to rock in your life.
Yeah, it's just not your scene, Cinders.
It's Cindy, if you don't mind, and I might like it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Girls, please stop this awful whining. It's out of the question this month. Pookie has to have his nails clipped in his hydro bath. Don't you, Pookie? And besides which, I'm down to my last 6 cases of bubbly.
Oh, it's not fair. Dumb dog gets everything.
I'll hydro bath him in hydrochloric.
Oh, my head. I simply have to go lie down.
He's so handsome, Guy Prince. Now he's coming and I'm not even going to be there. What's the point of being simply stunning, terribly talented, and ridiculously rich if I can't even meet the man of my dreams? Oh, life is so unfair.
Cindy? Where are my docs?
All polished, ready to go.
You polished my docs? How could you, dirtbrain? Cindy? Where is my black skirt?
I was just ironing it for you.
Ironing it? Oh, give it to me.
Cindy, you haven't done my hair. Hurry up. No. Rub his fingers.
Good. Wait until we tell everyone. Guy Prince, here we come.
Guy Prince. Guy Prince. Prince Guy. Why Guy? Why? If only there was just some way I could come to that party tonight.
I'll get it right one of these days.
Who were you?
I'm your fairy godmother. I'm here to make all your wishes come true.
My wish is something irresistible, cool, and sweet.
You might want to be careful of that wish, sweetheart. Or otherwise, you might end up with a packet of Tim Tams.
No, all I want is to be at Guy Prince's party, but I happen to think to wear.
That sounds awfully familiar. You sure that's not a ball? All right, let's get you going. I've got just the right thing for the party. Ding!
Thank you for being with us and allowing us to build our confidence at performing in front of others. It is very nerve-wracking, and it was wonderful for everybody to put their best foot forward and just experience how it felt, because there's nothing that will replace actual performance. Mrs. Wiesel and I have been delighted with the effort that you girls have put in, because we've had a very crammed schedule this term. Thank you, parents, for joining us, some who have sat patiently in cars, Zooming, and others who have crowded around a shed television set. So we appreciate your indulgence, your support, and we think we are almost ready for the exams in early October.